Recording. All right, good morning, everybody. Today is Daf Sadi Zayin. Actually, one of the few short blot in Hashayel. So we left off at the bottom of Sadi Vav and Beis. Let's say 5 lines from the bottom. So we're discussing about Sheila B'Bailam, right? One who borrows something, also borrows the services of the owner. So even though normally a person who borrows always chayiv, but if the owner, you're also borrowing his services with you, then he is the one who's really responsible, and therefore the shayel, the actual borrower, would be pater. So who gavra the shayel?
I didn't put it up there. Okay.
5 lines on the bottom side of base, and away we go. Who gavra the shayel? A person borrowed an axe from his friend. He told her, and it broke. So the guy was chopping wood, and the axe broke. So also the coming to Rav came for Rav. He says, "Amar le." So what's Allah here? That parent says, "Zil isi sadi delav shani sebei pater." Go ahead, bring witnesses that you're using it appropriately, and then you're pater, right? Because even though normally he's for an inus, right? A tornado comes and blows it away, or a hurricane, whatever it is, he's normally chayiv for that. But if you use it for the way you're supposed to be used, and it broke the way it was supposed to be used, that's the only time a shayla is pater.
Yeah, but shouldn't that be?
Sorry. Yeah, nothing came off. There's no going up, going down. Nothing about that. Just the axe broke. Yeah.
Shouldn't it be that he would have to bring witnesses if he was using it inappropriately? Because the assumption is you're using it appropriately.
Right. So he over there. So he just my answer is Amarle. So he says, bring witnesses. They used it normally.
Mm-hmm.
Now right now we have no idea. Maybe it just broke on its own. It was an happened. A dog came along, knocked it off, hit into a car. The car drove over and it broke. We don't know. That's an inus, but now it's your chai for an inus. Bring witnesses that you used it normally, or that you weren't using it inappropriately, and that's how it broke, and then you'd be pater. So the Gemara says, "If like a sadi might," but if there's no witnesses, what did you do? So Tashma, come listen. No, Gavad the shell nargam. Chavri person borrowed a axe from his friend. Pitaba and it broke. Also, the coming to Rab came for Rab. Amalei zil shalim lei nargam alia. Go ahead, buy him a new axe if you don't have witnesses. Amalei Rav Khan Rav Asi. Do you know Haki? Is this the halacha? The Shasik Rab, and Rab is quiet. The Hilchasa, and what were they challenging? Why were they upset with his ruling? If he doesn't have witnesses, he has to go ahead and buy him a new axe. However, no, the Halacha said, the Hilchasa Rav Hanan Rav Asi, the Mahadir le Chavre Mamala le Demeimano. The halacha is no different than an animal. Right, an animal that the person who borrows, that is you give back the carcass to the owner. So to over here, you give the broken wood back to the owner. That's worth $5. So you got a $5 credit, and now the other $12 you spend, you give him $12 instead of buying him a $17 new axe and keeping the broken pieces yourself. You return to the owner the broken pieces, and then you make up the difference with the payment. So Gavra 3 lines from the top and Sadi Zayin Amad Aleph. How Gavra the shell Davla Michavi person one that borrowed a bucket from his friend. See top it broke. Also the coming there up. Came for Pavarle. I see Sahadi the Loishani. So baby Potter, bring witnesses they weren't using it appropriately. Right? Now was they using it the appropriate way, and therefore you be Potter. And how Gavra another case to shell Shuna Michavi, a person borrowed a cat from his friend. A cat catch mice. So what do these mice do? Chabur le achbari v'kadlua. So what are the mice? They went ahead and they ganged up, they revolted, and then the mice killed the cat. So what about what's this case? Is the guy chayiv or not?
New York City subway.
In other words, yeah. Should he have anticipated?
Where are you holding?
Oh, good morning, Igor. We're in Sadi Zayin Amad Aleph, around 8 lines from the top.
Okay, thanks.
So should he anticipate or not? So is this considered to be mesa machmas malacha, i.e., I got a cat to go ahead and chase mice, and therefore you knew I was doing it. Therefore, I should be punter. Or maybe that that there's a possible that the mice would do it, and therefore I didn't prevent the mice from overtaking the cat. Similarly, Mordechai Rav Ashi, Haki Kamar Avimi Magroni, Mishmei the Rav, Avimi from Magroni to the name Rava. Gavri Denashi Katlua Loidine Vloidina. right? So it's like a woman overtaking a man, right? A woman is not stronger than a man, and therefore, a man, gets beat up by a woman. It's not anticipated. Right, so to over here, it's not anticipated, and therefore the guy would be putter. It's not something that the bower should have anticipated. That I better, use protection for my cat to make sure he doesn't get, killed by the mice.
Yeah.
And he could already some of the slightly versions. The mice ganged up and killed the cat.
Big mice.
Right. So Ikadari, some of the versions, some of a different version. Achel achre tuba v'chavil mace. Some say that maybe that it wasn't the case that the mice ganged up and beat him up. Maybe the cat ate too many mice and then it died from a stomach ache. I don't know. So Yasi Ravashi, if you come in the cat, what about this case? Mine, what's Allah there? Well, Ravashi, Hachi Amaravime, Magronia. Gabra Danashi Katlua like Dini. A person goes ahead and basically he's boiled, right? A woman, many beilois, he has lots of relations, so much to the point to exhaustion, and he dies, right? Unanticipated. So therefore, the woman is potter. So it's over here, it wasn't the mice fault that he ate too many mice, and therefore it's considered to be that unanticipated.
That's called a heart attack.
Yeah. Fine. A person wants to go ahead and borrow something from his friend, right? I'm going to go ahead and borrow Eddie's lawnmower, and I'm going to go ahead and I want to be potter just in case the lawnmower breaks. Right, so name Alay, Ishkin Maya, right, the Havishela Bailam. I say, I have a good idea. I'm going to ask Eddie to get me a cup of water, and in addition, borrowing his lawnmower. Therefore, it's Sheila Bailam. I'm borrowing it, was also borrowing the waitering services of Eddie, and therefore I'm putter. Eddie's responsible. But the Gemara says, Avi, and if Eddie is smart, which he is, name Alay, Shal Bereisha B'Hadar Eshkecha. And he'll say, what? Yeah, sure, I'll be happy to get a cup of water. First, borrow my lawnmower, and then afterwards, I'll get you a cup of water. Why? Because we said yesterday that the most important point is at the moment where he borrows the item, if that person was working for him, but he wasn't working for him until afterwards, like Eddie said, go, here's your lawnmower, and then later on, I'll get you a cup of water. Then you'd be, then the borrower would be chayv. And I'm a Rav Makri Dardaki. What about someone who goes ahead and teaches kids, or Shasla Tafka? Or somebody who goes ahead, he's a teacher, or he's a gardener, or a butcher, of umna, or bloodletter, suffer, masa, or he's the barber, tamara, kulu, ba'idan, avisayo, kashila, babalam, dummy. Since they basically work for the city, right? So therefore, it's like their services are working for the people. So if a Rebbe lends out his horse, so in addition to the Rebbe lending out his horse, he's also working for the person by being the public teacher. Some of the Rabban, the Rav Shel and Mari. So they said, okay, no, Rabba, why don't you go ahead and lend us something? Because we'll be putter, because you're working for us, right? We're borrowing your services. You're teaching us, so you're working for us. And therefore, you're working for us while we borrow stuff. If something happens, we're putter. Sikpid, he got upset. Samalu. But you want to take all my money? And he said, you know what? Adarab, opposite. Us and Shelis and Lee. You guys are actually borrowed to me. Why? I can go ahead and teach whatever I want. So basically, it's at my discretion. And therefore, us soon, but you guys who are learning, who help me, right? And you guys, you can't choose Masech. It's up to me. And so you're helping me out. So by me teaching you, you're helping me understand better. And you're sharpening my skills. So therefore, you guys are working for me. However, it's not so true. Here's the rule of Ihu, the Kalam. On the days of the Kalam, they used to have the Yerchi Kalam before the Yontif. So they had, before Pesach, they would teach Hilchos Pesach. He was forced on the subject. Since he was forced on the subject, therefore he's working for them. However, other days of the year, they are working for him. So so he went then, he leased his donkey to the people of Beichuzai. So Tuna Bahadayu. He went to go ahead and help them go ahead and carry the load. And Pashub and these guys who borrowed it were negligent, right? They were negligent while he was helping them load it. Umais, and the donkey died. So also the Rabbi came for a Rabba. So he says they're chayiv to go ahead and pay. Samarle Rabban Larava, I Shiva Balaam. I understand. Mreimar, was it Mreimar? Yeah. Mreimar was the one, he lent him the animal and helped them load. It sounds like he lent it to them and it was Baal Ibov, right? Which they should be putter, even if they were negligent. So why are you saying Chayiv Rava? Shiva Balami. So Rava was embarrassed. However, the Milsa, the Lemesar Tunahu did nothing. However, in the end, it turned out that he wasn't really helping them. He was watching them load it, and therefore it wasn't considered to be Shiva B'Bailam, and therefore that's the reason why they're Chai. So the Gemara says now, this works well according to the opinion who holds that a person is negligent, but the owners are with him, he's still Pater. So because of that, when they told him it was Shiva B'Bailam, that's why he got embarrassed, because normally Shiva B'Bailam is Pater, not Chayiv. According to the opinion who holds chayiv, but negligence, even if the owner's working for you, you're still chayiv. Why should Rav have been embarrassed? He should have said, yeah, okay, you're still chayiv. It was negligent. The one says, no, it wasn't the fact, it wasn't Shiva B'Bailam, Ella ignuv, right? Rather, it was stolen, right? The donkey was stolen while he was there. Mesa Kadarka, and then the animal died. That's the reason why the case was brought. And so the Ganav Havi and it died Kedarka in the house of the Ganav Havi, but also the Kamei de Rava. And then they came for Rava and said, what's the case over here? They borrowed the animal, Rava was working with them, and it was stolen. So such a case, Vachayividu. And he says they're chayiv in this case. Samarle Rabbanan. The Rava, but then they said the Rabbanan, Gneva B'Bailam he. This is Gneva B'Bailam he, and Gneva B'Bailam should be Potter. So it makes sense why he was embarrassed. And so if he Gamilsa to the Mesa to do nothing. It turns out in the end he was not helping them load. It was not Gneva B'Bailam, which everyone would agree is Potter. Rather, it was a case of he was watching them. Right, and therefore that's what happened. Therefore, it was not a case of Sheila Bailam, and therefore it was just rather a case of Sheila, and therefore that's the reason why he was chayiv, because he wasn't helping; he was just watching. Fine. Now you Mishnah.
All these cases of renting, is there a rental contract? So it's only
borrowing. It was borrowing, right? In this case, it was right because when the person borrowed,
they determined that it was borrowed. But we talked about at the beginning. You talked about
skiros. So if right, so no, even if they pay him amount, so then there's a certain level. Normally they're chayiv for gneva v'aveda, right? But if the owner is with them while they rent it, if you rent my car and I'm helping you with it, and all of a sudden it was stolen, right? Then in Potter, because the skiros came along, it was skira b'alam. Yeah. Now zok the Mishnah hashayel es hapara. So a person goes ahead and he borrows a cow, or he starts it. The shel chatziyom, a sucker chatziyom. He says, you know what? I'm going to borrow it for the first half of the day till noon, and then I'm going to rent it for you. Or shel hayom sonar lamacher, or I'll borrow it today and rent it tomorrow. Or a sucker, or there's two of them, a sucker achas, and one of them was rented, and the other one was borrowed. Umesa, and then it dies. Right? That naturally was not from incompetence. Now. Normally, a person who borrows is chayiv for mesa, right? He borrows it. Person who rents it is not chayiv for mesa. So the question is, at what point, right? Let's say it was one animal half day, right? Up until noon, it was borrowed, and from noon till 5, it was rented, right? So when did it die, right? So if it died in the morning, then he'd be chayiv. If it died in the afternoon, he'd be pater for pay. So it says, the lender, the guy who owned the animal, says, Shela Mesa, right? He says, no, it died when you were borrowing it, therefore you're chayiv. Or he says, a different case, Shela Mesa, when it was two animals, he said the borrowed one died. Or beyond Shela, or it was the day of the borrowing, or Mesa B'Shatz. Shayla. It was or it died during the time of when it was borrowed, right? Shula Mesa. The Hala Aimer, and the other guy says the guy was actually borrowing. It says, "Ain't it there?" I'm an honest guy. I have no idea what point that it died. Five is such a case because the owner made a claim of definitive claim. This is when it died. It died when it was borrowed. You owe me. The other guy says, I have no idea. So this is a case of Bari V'Shema.
Did it die right away?
It died naturally. It doesn't necessarily right away.
Then it makes a difference. Well, it makes a difference then.
Well, we don't
died right away.
We don't know when it died. It just died during while it was under the guy's watch.
Why don't we say to the owner of the animal, bring me a proof that the animal died.
Because he has a bari claim, right?
Did he?
He has a bari claim.
He's just making a claim. Died while you were borrowing it, but he doesn't know either.
But we don't make a person who is a bari claim. He makes. I guess he makes a shvua. He probably makes a shvua when he's a bari claim.
Was he working for him?
Yeah,
right?
he would probably.
Yeah, bari does cancer. But let's see the next case. Right, then you would assume that. But let's say for whatever reason, it was in the guy's yard, the next door neighbors, and the guy wasn't there then, and the guy actually saw his own property die, his own animal. So haseicher, now if the other way around, the guy who had the animal borrowed it or rented it, haseicher, it was during the time, it was the rental one that died, or b'yom shaisa scored on the day that it was rented, or mesa or b'shash shaisa scored on the time when it was rented, it died. But Halam, and the owner says, "Ain't idea, I have no idea." Then he is putter. Zel mer shula, v'zel mer schura. This one says yes, it was definitely borrowed, and this one says yes, it was definitely rented. Yishava, I say Eddie, I don't think the other case it was even a shua. The thing is, just when you have a bari claim, then you can do it. But if each one has a bari claim, zel mer shula, v'zel mer schura, yishava haseicher sheschura mesa. Then the renter says, "I swear that it died while I was renting it, and therefore I'm putter." Because we go in the case of where a person makes a shvua and then he's putter, right? He makes a shvua and he doesn't pay. However, then each one says, "I don't know. I'm not sure what happened." So then they go ahead and they divide it. So Zok the Gemara Shemamina Manali biyadcha v'hala me'eni yedea. Let's learn from here a case of a person says, "I say to Alan Gershman, I say, I have $100 of mine in your hand, i.e., you borrowed $100 of mine." And then Alan says, "Ain't idea, no idea." Chayiv, then you are chayiv to go ahead and pay me, right? This is our case, right? I say it was the borrowed one, and you says, "Ain't idea, you got to go ahead and pay me." So let me do tiyufta to Rav Nachman. Let's say it's a kashan Rav Nachman to tiyufta. Tomorrow we learn over there. It says, a person says, "Hey, you owe me $100 because I lent it to you." The other one says, "I have no idea." Maybe. Rav is chayiv to pay just like our Mishnah. Rav Nachman, Rav Yechon, Pati. They say Pater. Why? So let's see. They say Pater. So it's opposite our case. Our case is if it's a Bari V'Shema, Bari Yadif. But in this case over here, Rav Nachman is saying Pater for paying. Why does the Alan have to pay me? I'm Bari. He has no idea. He's Shema, so pay me. So my answer is no. Over there, the reason why he's pater, the reason why you're chayiv is different. Because Rav Nachman could go in shahaya isek shvua b'neihen. They had to make another shvua amongst them, and we're actually going to get into this tomorrow. They had to make a shvua anyways. And hakinami. So to in our case, in our Mishnah will explain the reason why. So let's say Alan was the one who borrowed, who had the animal, and I say it was borrowed, and Alan says Eini Odea. The reason why Alan has to pay is Kigon Sheish Asek Shvul B'neihem. Alan, we had other business together besides this, and you were chayiv to make a shvul, and you can make a gilgul shvul on this case. Now, since your claim is I do not know, so by default, if a person has to make a shvul and he cannot, he's chayiv. So since you had to make a shvua for another reason, will be megalgel the shvua on this animal. Did it die or not? And you don't know. Since you can't make the shvua, then you're chayiv to go ahead and pay me, right? And haichidami, what's the case of asik shvua? To the Rabbi, like Rabbi says, Dama, Rabbi will just get into this case. Manali biyadcha. I say to Alan, you owe me $100. First of all, Yoel, $50 I owe you. Bashar, and the other $50 ain't yodea. The other $50 I don't know. So now, since you now normally, right, Moed Mitzvahs make a shvua. I only owe you 50. The other 50 I'm pater from because I don't owe you that, right? Mm-hmm. But over here, I owe you 50 Moed Mitzvahs. Now the other 50 you're supposed to swear that you don't owe me. Now, since you say Eini Yodea, you can't make a shvua of Eini Yodea. Mm-hmm. So therefore, by default, since you're supposed to make a shvua, but you can't, you're chayiv to pay. So therefore, in our case, we'll say that since the guy who borrowed it had to make a shvua, and he can't make a shvua because his claim is Eini Yodea, therefore he's chayiv to go ahead and pay as if it died during the borrowed time. We'll stop here. Then we'll explain our Mishnah in these cases of where you had to go ahead and make